Hi, I'm Ann with Parkway Nursery, and we're doing a series of workshops on YouTube for this season so that you'll be safe and you can listen to them whenever you want at home. We're at the corner of Clinton Parkway and Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas. So if you're driving by, look for the flowers on the roof. That's kind of our trademark. Now I'll talk about the handout and then you can put it on there somehow. Ready to roll it?
Whenever.
Okay. Hello, this is Ann at Clinton Parkway Nursery, and today we're going to do a little workshop on houseplants. So what I want to do is talk about just a few plants, specific plants that get an idea of what they like as far as light and care on that. You know, probably the biggest question everyone has is how much do I water? And they want a recipe that you water this much, this often, you know, that type of thing. You're not going to find that because every house is different. What's the temperature? What window is it at? What soil is it in? What plant is it? What time of year is it? All those factor in. So watering is one of those things I tell people, just check the soil. You have to water it when it's dry, check the soil, and then you'll know, okay, it's ready to water. But to give you an exact, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to be wrong. So it's when it's dry, that's when you water on that. But light is probably your next biggest factor, and you have plants that like a lot of light, like a little light, okay? Keep this in mind that these are quote-unquote houseplants. And God didn't make houseplants. He made plants and put them outside. And we are the ones that put them in a pot and brought them inside. So they're a very tough plant to begin with if we can stick them inside and they seem to survive, let's say, and thrive, some of them. But not all of them are going to do that. So, and you know, you have to experiment with your house a little bit to find out what spots you have and what plants will work in that spot. But you have, I'm going to say high light, medium light, and low light on that. And a high light would be, or a bright, let's say, would be an area that gets a lot of sun, like a south window or a west window that would get 4 to 5 hours of sun a day. Examples of plants that like high light would be your succulents on that. Your succulents and cactus, they want as much sun as you can give them on that. Another one that does well in a lot of light is your fiddle leaf fig on that. This is one that, actually both of these are ones that like it kind of on the dry side. But remember, if it's close to a south window, it's going to dry out quicker than if it was on an east window or a north or across the room. So keep that in mind when you're watering it. But these are ones that like a fair amount of light. You can take your plants out in the winter, not in the winter, in the summer if you wanted to. And you know, find a spot where they're happy, and you'll get a lot of growth in the summer on that. So, but those are ones that like a fair amount of light on that. Other ones that would do well in that, any of your succulents, any of your cactus type. If you're trying to grow some herbs, your hibiscus, your jade would I consider a succulent, but ficus, any of the ficus family, which is the fiddle leaf is in the ficus family. So those are ones that would like a lot of light. Okay, then a medium light is a little bit less, you know, 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe not right up against the window, maybe on the east side, or pulled in a little bit from a south or a west window. But they will take like a morning, early morning or late afternoon, not the intense. And selections of those are this is the Ponytail Palm. This is one that likes a lot of, it likes to be crowded on that. So don't be too aggressive on repotting it. You can see how it doesn't have much space between the bulb and the pot. That's kind of what it likes on that. And then your African Violet is another one that's a low light. Or I'm sorry, medium light. You can put these on plant lights if you want, and the plant light will, for high, you want it on for a long time. You want plant lights on a long time anyway. But you may put it closer to a plant that wants bright light. You may put it closer to the light, where if it's on a medium light, you can put it down a little bit, and it'd still be happy even though you leave it on, you know, 12 to 14 hours a day on that. So those are medium lights. Other ones are your begonias, your dracaenas, your peperomias, your rubber plant, you know, the Hoyas, the money tree. There's a bunch of different ones that will kind of be medium light. And then a low light is, you know, it may be across the room. It may be, you know, especially in the summer. I've got a south window, but I've got trees there, so it doesn't get a lot of light. Those are the type of examples that you will find in a low light. Now, a low light, if you give it a relatively low light, you're going to find that it doesn't grow as much. It may live and survive, but it may not grow. You may put the same plant in another spot in your house that gets more light and find out that it does a lot better. It grows a lot faster. Why? Because it's not getting as much light as it wants. But one of your good low lights, and the easy one, this is probably your goof-proof plant, is your Philodendron. Philodendron and pothos are both ones that are low light, that are easy to grow. This will eventually be kind of a vining plant, but like I say, it's a goof-proof plant. And then these are your Dracaena. There's a bunch of varieties of Dracaena. This one has the green and yellow. There's a red one. There's a green one. There's a green and white one. So there's a lot of different ones. This is kind of what I would call a floor plant. In other words, it's big enough you could put it on the floor as an accent, where right now the Philodendron is a table plant on that. So it just kind of depends on what you want and what you want to use it for on that. So that's your light. Okay, and we talked about watering and then fertilizing. Okay. In the winter, I would not suggest fertilizing. Even though these are inside and they're still quote-unquote growing, they're going dormant. They're saying, okay, it's winter. It's cold outside. The days are shorter. I need to rest a little bit. So they really don't grow a lot in the winter, so don't push them on that. You can do a couple different ways with fertilizer. You can do something like the garden coat, which what it does is it's a good for 6 months. So you could put it on March, April, and then you're done for the year if you want something simple and easy on that. If you like to dink a little bit, you can do something like your water solubles. Your water solubles it's a granule, you mix with water, it dissolves, and then you've got it ready to water. If you need a little bit and you want to mix a lot of it, just leave it in your watering can. It's okay that way. Stir it up a little bit or shake it before you do your, I let it set for a week, now I'm going to use it again so that it gets, if it happens to break down and settles, then it'll get all mixed up. See, at the end, you're not getting a boatload of fertilizer on that. But this one, when you do something like this that's a liquid, what you want to do is you want to water fairly frequently with it. It will tell you, okay, on succulents and cactus, well, it just says apply to soil. That's a good thing. But it's got apply with each watering until desired color and blooming is achieved. Then every other watering to maintain vigorous growth. So you've got to give it a lot, and not necessarily a lot each time, but frequently. On your container plants, whether it's house plants or your containers outside, what happens is you put this down, the plant gets it, you water tomorrow with straight water, and what happens is it leaches all of this out. So yeah, there'll be a little bit left, but the majority of it is gone the next time you water with straight water. So that's why they're saying do it every time or every other time, so they get some all along on that. The potting soil, when you put in potting soil, you don't have to repot these really often. Probably in the vicinity of once a year. Now remember this one, you didn't want to repot it very often because it likes a tight soil. So you have to know the plant a little bit. Succulents are kind of the same way. They don't grow a huge root, so they have a water storing mechanism right here, and the roots, you'll be amazed how small the roots are on a cactus or a succulent. So they may not need to be transplanted as often. But when you transplant, what you want to do is your pot size, you want to go up 2 inches. This is like a 4-inch pot, you'll go to a 6-inch pot. If it's in a 6-inch pot, you'll go to an 8-inch pot. That way, if you go too big, what happens is this soil that you put in, the new soil stays wet and the existing soil dries out. It's not a happy media. So if you have it only go 2 inches, the roots go into that new soil relatively quick and it'll dry out like the rest of the plant. So the plant's happier with that on that. So that kind of gives you an idea for what's going on today. We will have more seminars. Check them out. And I want to thank you for listening.